Hello everyone, welcome to chemistry class. Here we are with the chapter number 3, elements, compounds and mixtures. This is the part 2 of this video series, and in the previous video we discussed about the classification of the substances around us. The substance, as we know, they are classified into two main categories, the pure substances and mixtures. Pure substances in turn again are classified into elements and compounds. Also, in the previous video, we discussed the definition related to the pure substance, and then we discussed the definition and the concept of elements and the rules related to the representation or writing of the various kind of the symbols of the elements. Let us come to the today's topic, molecules of elements. So, we all know that atom does not exist independently. It is not that much stable that it can have independent existence. And the atom will combine with other atoms of the same element to form a molecule. Yes, atom cannot remain independent. It cannot exist in isolation. It will always combine with other atoms. These other atoms will be of the same element, and as a result what will form is called as a molecule. And the molecule obviously is capable of independent existence. Atom cannot exist independently, but a molecule can have, or it is capable of, independent existence. A molecule is represented by a formula. In the previous video we discussed element is represented by a symbol. Element is represented by symbol, but the molecule, if the molecule has to be represented, there is no symbol there. What is there? It is a formula. This formula will indicate or inform us how many atoms of the element have combined to form it. For example, the molecules of hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, all these are having certain kind of formulas, like H2. H2 is the formula of hydrogen molecule. If we have to write the symbol of hydrogen atom, if we have to just show the symbol of hydrogen atom, then we will write capital H. It is what? Capital H is the symbol here. It is the symbol here. But when it is written H2, it is the formula here. Formula is telling us about the number of atoms which are present in this molecule. Like H2 is the formula of hydrogen molecule. This 2 in H2 is indicating that 2 atoms of hydrogen have combined together to make a single molecule of hydrogen. Just like this N2, O2, F2, Cl2. Everywhere you see the number 2 is given here. This 2 indicates the number of atoms that have been used in the respective elements. Nitrogen 2, N2 means 2 atoms of nitrogen combined to make one molecule of nitrogen. O2 means 2 atoms of oxygen combined to form one molecule of oxygen. F2 and Cl2 also mean the same thing, that 2 atoms of the respective elements have combined together and a single molecule has been produced there. So this thing should be clear to everyone, that the formula is indicating us what? It is written here also. The formula will indicate how many atoms of the element have combined to form it. It means molecule. How many atoms are present in a molecule. And this number of atoms which is present in a molecule is given a term. This is generally in chemistry called as atomicity. Let us please learn this. Let us now learn this concept now. All of you please put a tick in your book on this concept. This definition is important from exam point of view. It can be asked, what is atomicity? The answer is in front of you. The number of atoms in a molecule is called as the atomicity of the molecule. So if we talk about the molecules of hydrogen, just now we have seen here the formula is written H2, N2, O2, F2, Cl2. Everywhere you will see 2 atoms are present. In every molecule you will see 2 atoms are there. So this number of atoms will tell us the atomicity. So atomicity of hydrogen molecule, it is 2. For nitrogen molecule, oxygen molecule, fluorine and chlorine molecules also, it is 2, because only 2 atoms are present in their molecule. So that is what is called as the atomicity. And if only 2 atoms are present, it is called as diatomic, because atomicity is 2. That is why the molecule will be called as diatomic, because the atomicity is 2. So molecules of hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, all these are diatomic. And the reason why they are diatomic, because their single molecule is made up of 2 atoms only. the molecules of all the elements will not be diatomic. There will be some more elements where some other number of atoms will be there. Every molecule will not be of 2 atoms only. If 2 atoms are there, then it is diatomic. But there are some other elements or where there are some other compounds or molecules. What is happening in them? Like this example is given, ozone. So what about the ozone? Is it diatomic? No, it is not diatomic. Ozone is a gas. It is present in the upper layer of the atmosphere. When you study the layers of atmosphere in geography, you will read in details. There you will find ozone gas is present. So ozone gas is triatomic. What does it mean? It means a single molecule of ozone is made up of 3 atoms. 3 atoms of oxygen. Here it is the formula. I have enclosed it in the red box. You can see on the screen. O3 is the formula for ozone. Molecule is represented by formula. So molecule ozone molecule is represented by O3. 3 is indicating that 3 atoms of oxygen are present in one molecule of ozone. Hence it is called as triatomic. There are some more things now. The molecules of phosphorus and sulfur. First we will talk about phosphorus. Phosphorus formula is P4. Here the number 4 is telling us that one molecule of phosphorus is having 4 atoms, and hence we will say it is tetraatomic. Once again I repeat, the molecule of phosphorus P4 is tetraatomic. All these please keep ticking or marking in your book, for you have to learn these things and revise it before the exam. It can be asked. Next is octaatomic. What about the molecule of sulfur? It is octaatomic. Why it is so? You see the formula is written here, S8. S8 means there are 8 atoms. 8 atoms of sulfur are present here in the single molecule. In one molecule 8 atoms of sulfur are there. That is why atomicity will be 8 and the molecule will be called as octaatomic. Okay, there are some other molecules which are belonging to the noble gas elements like helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. All these are the noble gases. They are not reacting with other substance. They are unreactive. Because they are unreactive, what will happen? These atoms will live alone. In the first line of this topic, we discussed that atom does not live alone. It cannot independent. But in the noble gases, but in the case of noble gases, this concept will not be there. We will cancel this concept. Noble gases are able to live alone. They can have their atom independent. Means one molecule will have only one atom. One molecule will have only one atom. Helium, neon, argon, all these gases are monoatomic because of the reason that their one molecule is having how many atoms? Only one atom is there in one molecule. I hope the concept related to atomicity is clear to everyone. This is how the different molecules are forming. Let us move on to the concept of compounds now. We have discussed elements, molecules and atomicity. Now we will talk about the compounds. The other category of the pure substance is compound. The first one is elements, that is over. Let us move on to the second category of pure substance, that is called as compound. What is a compound? Compound is that kind of the pure substance which can be split into simple things by chemical means. If you do any chemical reaction, it is possible to split that compound into smaller things. What are the smaller or simpler substance? Actually it is the element only. In simple way we can say, when the different elements join with each other, element plus another element, I will write 1 plus element 2, means 2 different elements are there. When 2 different elements are joining together, then what will happen? Then a compound will form. If the same element is joining, then it is molecule. Just now we have seen, like hydrogen, if they are joining, it will give H2. So a compound nahi hai, it is a molecule. But when hydrogen and oxygen are joining, then a compound will form, water will form. That we will see later on, the equations and all. So when different elements combine together, then what is there? A compound is formed there. That only is written here. You can also mark in your book. A compound, I will just mark here. A compound can be formed only when 2 or more elements combine among themselves. Example they have given, a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. When it is kindled, when it kindled means heated, then what will happen? Water will produce. Another example they have given carbon. When it is burning in oxygen, so when carbon is burning in oxygen means it is combining in oxygen. What will happen? CO2 will produce. CO2. C plus O2 gives CO2, carbon dioxide gas produced. Same way sulfur. When it is also burning, sulfur S plus oxygen. What will produce? It will produce sulfur dioxide. Another gas is there. This is also pollutant gas. So this is how the compound is there. One example of compound, water we have seen, carbon dioxide, another compound, sulfur dioxide also, third compound. Three examples we have also seen how the compounds are there. So water, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, all these are compounds, and they can definitely be split into simple substance by chemical means, not by physical method. This is important. Chemical method only we will use. In the definition also, if the compound definition is there, don't forget to write this word. We can break the compound into simple things. We can break the compound into respective elements from which it is formed. But how? Only and only by the chemical means or chemical changes. We cannot break any compound into simple substance by using any physical means like filtration, distillation and all. We will not be able to separate the compound into elements. It is not possible. But if chemical change is going on, yes, it is possible. What about the representation of the compounds? We have discussed the elements. Elements are represented by symbols. Molecules are represented by formula. Now the time comes for compound. The compounds are again represented by formula only. They are also having the formula. A formula से में क्या information मिलती है? The formula of the compound will indicate how many atoms are in the particular molecule of the compound. Like if we talk about water, the compound water is there. In that the formula is H2O. H2O is the formula of a compound called as water. What about the information it is giving? It is telling us that 2 atoms of hydrogen are there. You can see H2 is written. 2 atoms of hydrogen are there, and they have combined with 1 atom of oxygen. Obviously, you can see O is written. That means only 1 atom is there. And when these 2 atoms of hydrogen are combining with 1 atom of oxygen, what we get as a result of this? We get a molecule of water. So that is all. What the information is given by the particular formula of the compound. Here different formulas are given. Put a tick on this and you have to learn all of this. This is your homework for this week. Learn all these formulas and you have to write this in your notebook. All will write in your notebook. And learn all these formulas. We can give these things in exam. We can ask formula. Also we can ask the name of the compound. Anything we can ask. If we can put dash here or we can put dash on the other side. Both the ways you should be able to answer. Okay, here also many more are given. All these you have to learn. Write down in your class notebook and learn all these formulas and the name of the compounds. Let us move on to the characteristics of the compound. So the compound is generally having the following characteristic. First characteristic that is given here is a compound can be split into constituent element by the chemical means. That is the definition only that is given here. Not by physical means, already I told you. By physical methods like filtration, sublimation, distillation and all, we cannot be able to split, but we can split. It is possible to split the compound, but which method? We'll use the chemical method only. Okay, the explanation you can read, simple thing I have already told you. Second point, elements combine in a fixed proportion of the atom. Always when the elements are combining, we have just now discussed in the beginning of the topic of compound, I told you that elements combine to make compound. But elements will combine, that is okay, but how much quantity of element will combine? That is also important here. So that is given in the second property right now in front of you. You can see elements combine in which ratio? In a fixed proportion. We cannot take any quantity of any element. Then the reaction may not be properly going on. So elements always combine in a fixed proportion. Then only the compound will form. Let us take an example to understand this. Hydrogen always it will combine with oxygen. We all know hydrogen combine with oxygen. Water is there. Water is produced, but hydrogen and oxygen have to be in the atomic ratio 2:1. Then only water will produce. Means if 2 atoms or 2 molecules of hydrogen are there, then 1 molecule of oxygen should be there. It should not be anything else. Okay, if this ratio is not maintained, then water will not produce, the reaction will not take place properly. Same way, carbon combined with oxygen in the ratio 1:2, means one atom or one molecule of carbon or one atom only of carbon will combine with two atoms, that is O2 of oxygen, and then CO2 is producing. So this is 1:2, one atom of carbon, two atoms of oxygen. So this is the ratio by which CO2 gas is produced. So that is why we say elements always combine in a fixed proportion of atom, then only the compounds will produce. Third property that is given here is the fixed proportion of the number of atoms that we have seen. But there is one more proportion, that is by mass. The mass also of the elements which are participating, that also we have to see. Like if we are using hydrogen and oxygen to produce water, but how much grams or how many grams of hydrogen? It should be 1 gram of hydrogen. And what about oxygen? 8 grams of oxygen should be used. Then what we will get? We will get 9 gram of water. If we are using any other ratio, then no reaction, or reaction will take place, but the product will not be in proper quantity. So here you see 1 and 8. 1 is hydrogen, 8 gram is oxygen. So ratio क्या हो जाएगा? Ratio will be 1:8. Ratio by proportion by mass it is. Same way about carbon and oxygen. Carbon react with oxygen, so carbon dioxide is there. But how much carbon we have to take? 3 gram of carbon, and oxygen is 8 gram of oxygen. So ratio will be what? Ratio will be 3:8, and 11 grams of carbon dioxide will produce. That is all. So we have to take care that always when the elements are combining, they are combining in fixed proportion by mass, and also they are combining by the fixed proportion of their number of atoms also. So both the ratios have to be taken care of. Okay, so this is based on a rule that is called as conservation of mass, law of conservation. You will learn about this in next class in more details. Only the name of the law is I am writing here. Law of conservation of mass. That you can see here, mass is not destroyed here. 1 gram hydrogen, 8 gram oxygen, 1 plus 8 is 9, so 9 gram water. Same with 3 gram carbon, 8 gram oxygen, 3 plus 8 is 11 gram of CO2. So what we can finally say, that we can say that matter can neither be created, we cannot create matter on our own, also we cannot destroy matter. Always the mass of the compound is the sum of the masses of element. Whatever compound is produced, its mass is equal to the mass of the elements. So that has to be taken care of. The property number 4 now that we will see here, that is the properties of compounds are entirely different from the elements. This property will be clear with the example only. First of all, we'll see this example here. Hydrogen and oxygen, water is there. Okay, that is fine. But if we talk about the property of hydrogen, then hydrogen is a gas which can be easily burned. Actually, hydrogen, in fact, it is used as a fuel. It is used as a fuel in the space research work, in the spaceships and all, it is used there. And next about the oxygen, it is another gas, it supports burning. Oxygen is very important for burning to take place. So both hydrogen and oxygen can be burned, they support burning. What about water now? Water is not a gas, it is a liquid. First of all, the state of matter change, hydrogen gas, oxygen gas, but the product is liquid. Second thing you see here, hydrogen can be burned, oxygen support burning, but water, it does not support burning. On the opposite thing, it is extinguishing fire, it stops the fire. Hydrogen supports fire, oxygen supports fire, but water does not support fire. It extinguishes fire, it prevents the fire from taking place, or it stops the fire that is going on. So water is entirely different in its property from hydrogen and oxygen. That is what is written here, that properties of compound are entirely different from the constituent elements. I hope it is clear. If it is not, then take the second example now. Carbon, it is a solid and it can be burned easily. Like coal is carbon only, it can be burned easily. Oxygen, it is a gas, it supports burning, we all know. Then what about carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide is the gas, but it extinguishes fire. It is actually produced from the fire extinguisher cylinders. You would have seen red color cylinders are there at many public places. Whenever any fire outbreak is there, we can use those cylinders. What is produced from that cylinders actually? The reaction will take place in them, and by that reaction, this fire extinguisher cylinder produces CO2 gas. CO2 gas will do what? It will extinguish fire. It will stop, or it will it will prevent the fire from taking place in more violent manner. So that is all. I hope the point is clear to you that the properties of the compound are entirely different from the constituent elements. So that is all. We have completed the topic of the elements and compounds, both we have covered. In the next video now we will talk about the mixture and its related topics also. We will continue from here. Still, if you have any doubt related to today's video, you can definitely post your queries in the comment section below. Else you can send a message in the Teams app personally to me. Else the third option lies with the live teacher. You can ask in the live classes teaching you on the Teams app. That is all for this video, students. Thank you for now.